It is a Tuesday, and you know what that means. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Championship Rings, the first one of the year. Brandon Lewis of Brandon's World, Judge Unger from Unger to the Max, Mr. Unger, how's it going? We have so much to get into tonight, and we haven't even talked.
Yeah, let's just get straight into it. Skip the formalities.
Let's do it. So the Ravens, they have clinched the number one seed thanks to a 56-19 victory that I didn't call it by this much, but I personally thought that Baltimore was going to destroy Miami. Obviously, I think we have both said it here over the past couple of weeks. The Ravens right now, they not only look like the best team in the AFC, they look like the best team in the NFL.
You look at what the Ravens have done this season. You don't want to have a winning record going up against them. Look at what they did to the Detroit Lions. Look at what they did to the Seattle Seahawks. Look at what they did to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the San Francisco 49ers, and now the Miami Dolphins. The Ravens have dismantled all of them. We had all this hype about San Francisco. What happened? Baltimore made them look silly. The Ravens are on a different level right now. Lamar Jackson's going to win MVP. And I think that's a sign, sealed, and delivered.
Oh, I told you. I thought it was after the San Francisco game.
Oh, I did too. I fully did. But I'll tell you what. I don't know if he's getting a lot of consideration for the award or not. But Zay Flowers should be Offensive Rookie of the Year. The way he has...
Wait. Over your guy? Over your guy, C.J. Stroud?
C.J. Stroud hasn't been healthy the past couple weeks, and you look at what Zay Flowers has done for Lamar Jackson.
It's not just him, though. It's Odell Beckham. It's Likely. It's Bateman. It's other guys that have been healthy. So you can't just say it's just Zay Flowers.
No, I'm not trying to say that. But, look at the impact Zay Flowers has made on this offense. He's that speed deep threat that I feel like the Ravens have been missing over the past couple years. And the fact that Lamar Jackson has not been able to, or has not skipped a beat since he lost Mark Andrews is incredible to me. The fact that he has been able to stay the course, he's been able to continue to play at this high of a level without his security blanket, unbelievable.
So we're going to get into the playoff seeding a little bit later in the show. We're going to get into, obviously, the huge matchup between Miami and Buffalo. But I want to ask you, do you have any second thoughts about Miami after this performance? I don't take anything away from Miami. Like I said, this is kind of who they are. Excuse me. They struggle on the road and they play well at home.
I'm going to say it outright. The Miami Dolphins are frauds.
Well, you know what? I sort of disagree with that. We'll get into it. I know you're going to say this team is frauds. I know you've been waiting for this since about Sunday at about, 3-4. Are you going to let me finish? Let me finish?
Nope, because you guys lost to the freaking Arizona Cardinals. Congratulations, buddy. You're the defending NFC champions, right?
Hey, Josh, when we go back to San Francisco, you're not going to be laughing again.
Hey, I admit it. I was wrong about San Francisco. But we're not talking about the 49ers. We're talking about your Philadelphia Eagles. And that was not a convincing win by them against the New York Giants. And then you come home and you lose to the Arizona Cardinals. And you say to the San Francisco 49ers, hey, here's the number one seed on a silver platter. Good job, buddy.
Listen, there is a silver lining to
There
all of it.
is.
There is. You know what travels in the NFL, Josh? It's called a run game. It's called an offensive line. My offense is not the problem. We still put up, if you want to count the pick six, say there was a defensive touchdown go out, we still put up 24 points, which should have been good enough to win the game. The offense was not the problem. My defense gave up 250 yards to the Arizona Cardinals rushing. We did not get them to a third down no less than 2 times in the second half. Arizona scored touchdowns on all four of their second half possessions. I don't know what the problem is. It's not talent. It's some sort of scheme. I don't know. Listen, there's people in Philadelphia that want to fire Sirianni. They want to fire Brian Johnson. They want to change the whole regime. This is what I will say. I think the defensive line's getting older. I think there's a lot of young players on the back end. Brian Johnson has done a terrible job as OC. I think there's better options out there. I would next year, depending on how this postseason goes, go get a new defensive coordinator because clearly the defense to me is the issue.
You can't let the offense off the hook that easily. You can't do
The
that.
offense was moving up and down the field on Arizona. The offense was not the problem. We only ran 4 plays in the second quarter because our defense couldn't get off the field.
Your offense has taken a major nosedive this season.
I wouldn't say a major nosedive. I would say
what?
a slight. I would say a slight
kidding
decline.
me?
My offense moves the ball up and down the field. It's the turnovers. We move the ball up and down the field
But you're not scoring points.
because it's the turnovers. And again, I've already told you this. Some of it is fluky, wacky stuff, weird fumble, tip ball, things that are out of your control. I don't think the offense is bad as people think it is. Excuse me.
Yes,
I think
it
it
is.
just comes. I think. Oh, it is, huh? My offense is bad, so we're like a bottom 5 offense in the NFL, according to you.
I mean, you got lucky against the Giants last week.
Do you want to put something on it right now? Because you probably think that we're losing to Tampa in the first round, and I'll bet you whatever you want, we beat Tampa.
It's not even a sure thing. Tampa's gonna win the division.
Wait a minute. I'll bet you my house that Tampa beats Carolina. There is no shot in hell Tampa's losing that game to Carolina. Just stop. Just stop, man.
Dude, wackier things have happened this season.
Just stop. Tampa's not losing to Carolina.
Fair enough. And you guys did whoop Tampa Bay earlier this season. So I would say you guys would probably win that game, but that means then you either have to go to Dallas or Philadelphia. Or I'm sorry, either Dallas or San Francisco.
I will go to either one of those places, and my offensive line will travel, and we will win in a shootout.
You got destroyed against the 49ers.
I will go back to Dallas because we moved the ball up and down the field on Dallas. We had 3 fumbles, or we could have tied that game. That's not going to happen again, Josh.
Wow.
When I come in, I told you, I'm not 2020 hindsight. I came in here and told you we will see Dallas again. We will see San Francisco again. We will clean up the turnovers and we will win. Now, before, I thought those games would be in Philly. Now they're going to be on the road. I still think we could go into Dallas and win. And by the way, San Francisco, could they get beat up by the Rams? I think they could.
That's an inch. I think the Rams are one of those sneaky teams that you don't want to see in the playoffs.
Well, speaking of a interesting game, we got to move on and talk about this. Listen, I may be a dick for a lack of a better term here. I don't care. The Lions did not report. You can clearly see it on the video. The NFL just put it out about 15 minutes ago. Go to the Twitter account. They did not clearly signal and rub your belly, which you must do. You must every offensive lineman that is reporting eligible must rub their belly and then verbally report to the official. This is, I know, the Lions got screwed. Let's
They
just overturn the game. The Philadelphia Eagles got screwed in the Super Bowl last year. Did they overturn the game? No. It's facts of life. Deal with it. The Dallas Cowboys won the game. Lions got screwed, and now you got to probably take on the Rams in the first round of the playoffs. Officials make mistakes all the time. I don't think this official necessarily made a mistake. The
he did.
Lions, the whole point of this was the Lions were trying to decipher, and they executed it perfectly, besides the fact they did not report as eligible, which you must do. The
You
cameras
were
clearly showed it. The officials in the NFL have defended this call. It was the right call. It was
no, it
also
wasn't.
illegal
It was
formation.
not.
It was
No,
also illegal for. Just go look up the tape.
that it. The call was so blatantly
Oh,
wrong.
it was so blatantly wrong because you have two linemen line up on the line of scrimmage and the wrong guy reported.
No, no, no,
Yes,
no. The official assumed that number 70 was the one reporting eligible because he had been reporting eligible all day.
because 70 and 68 were both supposed to report as eligible.
68, the Lions
Did
got
not report. Did
absolutely
not report.
screwed.
Did
The
not
Lions,
report. So what are we gonna do, Josh? Overturn the game?
do you realize how consequential this is?
Oh
If
my
the
God! Do you realize what happened in the Super Bowl with 2 minutes left? Oh my God! Do you really know it's going to this? Like, dude.
You're really defending the refs here?
Yes, I am, because people make mistakes all the time. Do your job. It is on the players to show yourself and report as eligible, which he did not do. Go watch the freaking tape.
This was such one of the worst calls I have ever
Oh,
seen.
I know, because we got to defend the Lions, because we're all upset because they lost to the Cowboys. Boo-hoo.
You have got to be kidding me right
They
now.
didn't even deserve to win the game. They played horrible.
Your TV must have been broken.
Was my TV broken, really? Because I saw Jared Goff throw an interception with about 5 minutes left. And it wasn't for Mike Boneheaded McCarthy throwing the mobile for the David Award. They would have ran that clock out.
Ay, ay, ay. Good Lord. I don't want to talk anymore about this game because I'll just make my head explode. Let's get to the big one on Sunday Night Football.
Dolphins win. What are you betting? There, I'll say it right now. Dolphins are winning.
Hell no. Josh Allen.
Winning.
Do you not know about the Dolphins injuries?
So my rule is I don't care about Bradley Chubb being injured. Tua is gonna play. I believe Jalen Waddle should be back for this game. I believe, and my general rule is when you get humiliated the way Miami got humiliated by Baltimore, if you're a good team with a good coach and a good quarterback, which we all agree Miami has, you bounce back.
But they're frauds.
This is a divisional game. And by the way, if the Bills lose this game, I'm here to say it. The way it works out, I don't think Buffalo is making the playoffs. I think this is a win or go home game for Buffalo, and I think they come all this way, and they probably lose by a field goal or a touchdown. I think it's a very close game. I think Miami makes the plays at the end of the game. I think Miami secures the number 2 seed because they don't want to go to Kansas City, and they know it.
Think about this. If Miami loses this game, that could potentially set up 3 revenge games in the playoffs. It would be Tua at Tyreek against the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, Matthew Stafford in Detroit against the Lions, and if the Browns get to the divisional round, it would be Joe Flacco against the Ravens in Baltimore. Think about
I cannot wait to talk about what we think the final NFL playoff picture will look like, because I have a feeling we disagree on a lot on that. But again, I like Buffalo. I like what they're doing. But what I tell you with New England, they struggle with New England. If it wasn't for the 3 picks by Zappi, they would have lost that game.
But they didn't. And do you not remember when Miami went up to Buffalo earlier this season?
I do remember, and Buffalo killed them, and it was their best game of the year. I understand that. This is a different Miami team at this point of the year. And what have I told you about going down to Miami in December? It's hard.
Yes, but do the Dolphins win games in December? No.
I think this is the game they get over the hump. They just beat Dallas a couple weeks ago.
They got lucky to win that game.
So wait, they got lucky. Now the Cowboys got lucky. Is the NFL all about luck? You just said, but Buffalo won. I could have said, well, Buffalo walked out because they got to play Bailey Zappi.
A lot of the NFL is about luck, and you know that.
I would say about 15% luck, but about 85% skill.
But anyway, you look at this game. Yes, the Bills generally struggle with New England, but the Dolphins are not the Patriots. So,
you're Buffalo, right. That's why Miami's going to win.
No. Buffalo has shown that they can match up well with the Dolphins. I mean,
they can. It is a different story. Again, last year, do you remember the game last year when Miami was at Buffalo in a snowstorm? Miami outplayed Buffalo in that game. Now, they lost, but they outplayed Buffalo. I would argue last year in the wild card game with Skylar Thompson, Miami had a chance to win the game. So, outside of the game that Buffalo just completely handled them, which that was kind of like the Baltimore situation where it was a second half dominance in that game by Buffalo. First half was sort of close. I think the Dolphins are just a good home team. I think Tua gets back on track. I think Tyreek Hill gets back on track. And this is the type of game where we see if Tua Tagovailoa is truly one of the, top 10-ish, 12 quarterbacks in the NFL. Excuse me.
I think Buffalo wins this game because I fully believe now the Dolphins are frauds. They are just a finesse team that cannot step up in weight class. They have proved it time and time again this season.
Well, gee, I don't know. They did beat Dallas at home, and I keep saying they do have one legitimate win on their resume.
Okay, what did they do against Buffalo earlier this season? What did they do against Philadelphia?
What I tell you, Philadelphia was a different team at that point of the season. Buffalo was a different team at that point in the season. They were on the road.
What did they do last week?
They're at home.
Baltimore.
Again, on the road. This is at home. It's a completely different story. Enough. Listen to me.
I get that they're at home, but the Dolphins have proven to me that they cannot step up in weight class. They have proven it time and time again. Why should I believe it's going to be any different this time around? I don't.
Because when you're a good team with a good quarterback and a good coach, when you get humiliated, you bow. You watch, Miami's going to play their best game of the year, and it may result in a loss. I'm telling you right now, I believe they're going to win, and I know they're going to play well. That's one thing I will know. They will play one of their best games of the year.
If the Dolphins are legit, they wouldn't have lost at home on Monday Night Football against Will Levis.
Yeah, that was a weird. You know what? Monday Night Football is weird. Do you know? I bet you nobody knows this because I told somebody this the other day. 11 out of the 14 Monday Night Football games this year, the underdog is either covered or won outright. I don't know if it's a Monday night thing. I don't know if it's the extra day. I don't know what it is. It's weird this year. Well, how many times have we said this year, Josh? It's a different year.
Wait. Okay, before we move on to the next topic, I just want to touch on this. Okay? Clearly, the NFL whooped the NBA in Christmas rates. But here's my question. Next season, next year, I should say, Christmas is going to be...
Wait, we're having a random topic right now in the middle of the show? What are we doing?
I don't care. I'm doing this. Next year, or this coming year, however you say it, I don't care.
In 2024, Christmas is on a Wednesday. Will the NFL have a couple games? Probably, yeah. What's the question?
That was going to be my question. Do you think the NFL will schedule games? And
I think they'll schedule at least one. I don't know if they'll do 3. I think it's going to be very hard to do 3 games. I would say probably 2, but I don't think that they're going to let the NBA completely off the hook.
I don't think the NFL will schedule any games because think about how quick of a turnaround that would be if you play on Sunday and then you have to turn around
No,
and
this is my theory. They're going to schedule 2 games because the previous week there will be 2 games on Saturday. Those Saturday teams will flip and they will play on Wednesday. It will be the same thing as a Sunday to Thursday game, like they do on Thanksgiving. They may do 3 games on Saturday and then flip those 3 teams around. Maybe it's divisional games. You have 3 games on Wednesday, like they do with Thanksgiving.
okay. I'll be very curious about that. But yes, I wanted to throw that
Okay,
random topic in there. You're
here
welcome.
we go. What does the final NFL playoff picture look like? So I'm going to go first on this. AFC. We already know the Ravens are the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed comes down to Buffalo and Miami. I've already made my prediction. I believe the Dolphins win. They get the 2. Kansas City's locked into the 3. I think Jacksonville will beat Tennessee. They will get the 4. They will win the AFC South. That puts Cleveland at Jacksonville. Now we get to the final 2 seeds, which is really interesting. So I think the Steelers are going to beat the Ravens on Saturday because Baltimore is going to rest everybody. They're not going to play Lamar. They're not going to play their guys. I think Pittsburgh's going to win. I think Indianapolis at home. I think Gardner Minshew. I think good Gardner Minshew is going to play at home. I think they beat the Texans. That means in that scenario, Buffalo at Miami. If Buffalo loses, they're out of the playoffs. I believe the Indianapolis Colts slide in as the 6th seed. The Pittsburgh Steelers, by virtue of Buffalo losing to Miami, will somehow, with Mason Rudolph, excuse me, slide into that number 7 position in the AFC.
Yep, you and I disagree a lot on this. So I've got Baltimore at 1. The Buffalo Bills are going to go down to Miami, beat the Dolphins, take the number 2 seed, which will send the Miami Dolphins down to the number 6 seed because that's what they've already clinched the playoff spot. Kansas City is at 3. I agree with you about Jacksonville at 4 because they're not losing to Tennessee. The Browns will be at the 5 seed. Spoiler, Browns are going to beat the Jaguars again. 6 seed, Miami. And the 7 seed, this is where it gets tough for me. Because if Houston loses to Indianapolis, they're out. You still have Denver in the mix. Pittsburgh.
No. Denver was eliminated after Kansas City won.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
It's Pittsburgh, Indy, Houston, and Buffalo for the final 2 spots, basically.
Well, I have Buffalo in. I've got Indy in.
So that's it. So
yeah.
Pittsburgh's not in. So basically, what it comes down to, if Buffalo beats Miami, it basically comes down to, because we all think the Steelers are going to beat Baltimore because Baltimore's resting everybody. Correct. I don't know the tiebreaker between. I actually don't know if Houston beats Indy. Does Houston get in over Pittsburgh because they beat them head to head?
Yes, Houston. The winner. I know this for fact. The winner of the Colts Texans game is assured a wild card spot.
Okay, so that means in order for Pittsburgh to get in, they basically don't care about Indy and Houston. They care about Miami beating Buffalo.
I believe so, yes.
So Pittsburgh's going to have to beat Baltimore, and then their fans and their coaches and those players are going to have to wait all night to Sunday nights inside their playoff fate. That's kind of funny.
Yes. Just like was it last year? I think so, with the Raiders and Chargers when...
That was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay, NFC. We already know the Niners are the 1 seed. Dallas is going to be Washington. They're going to be the 2. Detroit's going to be the 3. Tampa's going to beat Carolina. They'll be the 4. Philly will be the 5.
We agree so far, yep.
This is where it gets interesting. If the Rams lose to the Niners, there's a chance that they could fall to the 7th seed and have to play Dallas and not Detroit. If I'm the Rams, I'd rather play Detroit. I think they're going to play their guys against San Francisco for a week to have. They'll probably go up big. I don't think San Francisco is going to play anybody. Uh, I think the Rams will end up winning. So then it comes down to I believe the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love are going to defeat the Chicago Bears, and Green Bay will slide into that seventh seed and
And
go to
Dallas
Dallas
will, and
in the
Dallas
wild
will
card
have
round.
nightmares.
And I'll tell you what, Green Bay, from what I saw, and I know it was the Vikings and it was Sharon Hall and Nick Mullins and all that. I get it. I think the Packers are actually, I think they could go to Dallas. I'm not going to say they're going to win, but I think they can give Dallas a heart attack.
Dude, if the Packers get to the playoffs and they face the Cowboys, oh boy, are Cowboys fans going to have nightmares. It would
And,
be
uh,
hilarious.
and I'll tell you what, Green Bay can run the football. And they got some speedsters that can break away from Dallas's man coverage. And Jordan Love is protected. That could be a very interesting game.
I was telling you a couple weeks ago to watch out for the Packers.
And then they watched the Giants and like, what the hell? But your team, the Seattle Seahawks, have basically, I mean, they're gonna probably beat Arizona, though who knows? Arizona's not tanking apparently. They're going forward with Kyler Murray. But you were so steadfast. Remember, I told you the NFL is a long season in October. Josh Unger's over here saying the Seahawks are going to win the division from the Niners, and now they're not even going to make the playoffs.
Things evolve, things change. We have to go with the
I
flow.
tried to tell you that 3 segments ago.
Anyway, so once we get to the divisional round, let's start with the wild card. Browns beat the Jaguars.
I lean yes, but I don't think it's a sure bet.
I do.
Wait. You think 100% right now? Would you put something out at 100% right now? Browns are going into Jacksonville because Jacksonville's going to have Trevor Lawrence back.
Guess what? We destroyed Trevor Lawrence.
Did you? It was a 3-point game.
He was running for his life all day.
He was, but that was in Cleveland. The Browns are a different team on the road. What have we been saying for the last month, dude?
Okay, anyway. So, I've got the Browns over the Jaguars in the wild card round. I know I've been high on the Detroit Lions all season long. But Matthew Stafford going into Detroit with Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams. I like the Rams to pull off the upset there.
I tend to agree with you. By the way, why are we doing this right now? Why don't we do this next week?
Okay, fine. We'll say that.
When it don't set up. Anyway, all right. Who wins the national championship, sir? Washington or Michigan?
I can't wait for this game. And by the way, for all the people saying the College Football Playoff Committee got it wrong, did you guys not watch the games yesterday?
What about all the people that are craving Texas? They get screwed.
Both of those games were absolutely fantastic. They came right down to the final play. You had controversy, as you were just referencing.
And not really controversy. It was not pass interference, in my opinion. It was a moon ball. It was a jump ball. Texas fans are crying. You got to outplay the whole game. Washington wants you back into the game.
Fair enough. You know what I love about this game, though, between Washington and Michigan is, one, they're going to be conference mates next year. And
they
two,
play each other next year, too.
Bingo. They play each other in Seattle next season. So.
Well, I was going to say what fascinates me is Washington's aerial attack versus Michigan's ground and pound. Their offensive line, their dominance. Which me and you both said Michigan and Alabama were two very even teams. Washington and Texas were two very even teams. We saw that on display. By the way, Georgia made a hell of a statement, did they not? They're probably one of the top 4 teams because of the circumstances. They got screwed. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm sorry, Georgia. It's results-based business.
I mean, the right 4 teams got in, but This game
Yeah,
is going to be.
I said it today. You could have made an argument, even though Bama beat Georgia. You could have made an argument for Georgia over Bama. You really could have.
Sure. And I would hear that argument. I would for sure hear that argument. Florida State? No, I wouldn't hear that argument. Get out of here.
When it comes down to this, though, and we're going to get to this topic in about a minute or so, Jim Harbaugh potentially coaching his final game as the college football coach at Michigan. I think Michigan, I said it all year from week one. I said Michigan's the best team in college football this year. I'm not standing by it. I think Michigan, I could see this potentially being like a 27-20 like ball game. I could see Michigan just running it down Washington's throat, frustrating Michael Penix, forcing him to throw the ball deep into some mistakes. I think as much as the Ohio State and you as a Penn State fan probably don't want to see it, Michigan Wolverines are your 2024 college football national champions.
I feel like if the entire state of Ohio is rooting for Washington in this game because they don't want to hear it from Michigan fans for 365 days that they won the national championship.
Listen, I'll say this. A lot of Ohio State fans think I'm a Michigan fan, and I keep telling them, no, I'm not. I like Jim Harbaugh. I like Michigan, the brand. I like Harbaugh as a coach. I like their team. Excuse me. They're physical. They beat people up.
Blake Corum has been awesome at running back from Michigan. But I have to ask, Alabama, you called 2 timeouts. And
yeah, I didn't get that play at all.
And that was your play call?
I didn't get. Now, in fairness, if there was an RPO off that, I think it could have been a good call. Maybe a tight end stick route right to the goal line. I didn't get the QB draw, though.
Yeah, especially because the center was like having trouble with the snaps all day. I don't get it. Like,
yeah,
there were like 4 or 5 times it was a low snap. I'll tell you who was a real key factor in that game, though, even though Alabama lost. It was their punter, because Alabama was forced to play the field position game against Michigan, and the punter kept backing Michigan up like inside the 10-yard line, like on a consistent basis.
And Michigan nearly made a critical error when they were at the half-yard. I'm saying, why are you in shotgun? Just run a touch push and get some yardage. That was a real risk at the end of regulation.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that the returner nearly lost the game for Michigan with either a safety or a touchdown, on that last punt return. I was like, what are you doing?
To wrap it up, I think Washington's too explosive. They get blown out. This is not TCU from last year.
Oh, no.
But I do think there is a situation where Michigan just runs the damn hell out of the ball. They frustrate Washington, and they could get a big potentially in the second half.
I think this comes down to a last-second field goal. I really do.
Wow. See, I don't. I think it's like a 7 to 10 point Michigan victory. I think they just keep wearing down Washington. And I think Joe Klatt today made a very good point when he said that Washington is built a lot like the Ohio State team that Michigan just beat 3 weeks ago.
Sure. I can see that comparison, but the difference is Ohio State doesn't have a lot of explosive skill guys on the outside. You look at what Washington has. We'll see if Dylan Johnson's able to play. If he's not, that's a huge loss for them. But they have Roma Dunze, who is a fantastic wide receiver. They have Jalen Polk. They have McMillan. They have the tight end who Michael Penix loves to go to. So Washington's a lot more explosive than what Ohio State is, which Ohio State, you lost to freaking Missouri. What the hell?
Well, it's a bowl game that nobody cares about. Let's go to a situation that people do care about. Will Monday night beat Jim Harbaugh's last game as the head coach of Michigan, Mr. Unger?
This is such a fascinating question because you look at what Jim Harbaugh has done. he had an interview with the Minnesota Vikings, and it looked like he might get that job.
And by the way, was the favorite to get that job, and Jim backed out of it, not the Vikings.
Okay. I know, didn't he recently interview with another team last year?
I thought it was the Raiders. I could have been wrong.
Okay. And he just hired a notable agent in the NFL, Don Yee, right?
Yes.
So I think it's lining up to be similar to. Do you remember when Pete Carroll and USC were facing all those allegations
Yep.
years ago? What did Pete Carroll do? He jumped ship, went to the Seattle Seahawks. I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Harbaugh does the same thing. And if he does end up leaving Michigan, there's one team I think he should go to. And their quarterback is Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page on that. And the other interesting thing is, Michigan's going to lose a lot of recruits this year, and recruiting in college football is hard. And for lack of a better term, there's a lot of bullshit you have to deal with in college football. Recruiting, the parents, the boosters, the damn band. I mean, there's just a lot of crap that you have to deal with that you don't have to deal with in the NFL. Regardless, I do think it comes down to, would you be willing? Because Harbaugh is going to want personnel. And we talked about this with Belichick and the Chargers. Will the Chargers be willing to give up personnel? I still think that division, you got to deal with Andy Reid. You got to deal with Patrick Mahomes. Sean Payton's going to have a new quarterback next year. Vegas, who knows what they do at the quarterback position, but Antonio Pierce is turning out to be a real good coach.
Let me just say this before you continue. If the Raiders make the same mistake and don't hire him to be their full-time coach, they got issues because they should have kept Rich Bisaccia as their head coach.
And I agree with you completely on that. You look at the jobs that are potentially opening. I actually think, and as an Eagles fan, it kills me to say it, I think Washington is actually an attractive job. New ownership, good draft capital.
Does Eric Bieniemy stay there as offensive coordinator?
Scary Terry as a wide receiver one. You have that good defensive line. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm starting to think that Caleb Williams will go number one, but not to the Chicago Bears.
I think he goes to the Commanders.
I think he grew up in Washington. I, for some reason, think the Bears are not only keeping Justin Fields, I think they're going to keep Eberflus too.
I mean, Justin Fields has been playing better as of late, so I wouldn't be surprised. But
I told you, if I'm Chicago and I'm ripping off the Band-Aid. I'm taking Caleb Williams. I'm getting rid of Eberflus. I'm getting an offensive coach. None of their winning the last few weeks has changed my mind on anything Chicago.
But you just said the Bears are probably going to keep Justin Fields.
Well, because that's what the Bears do. That's not what I would do if I was in charge of the Bears.
Now I get what you're saying.
Like Carolina, I would not want that job right now, even though it is a weak division. You're dealing with a crazy
David Tepper. Yeah, did you see the video of this?
I did. I did see the video of that. I was wondering if a job like Tennessee opened up. You might think I'm crazy, but Tennessee, I mean, you whipped on quarterbacks twice, but it's not a particularly hard division, I would say. Houston is decent. They're not great. Indianapolis, again, going to be decent, not great. Jacksonville's decent, not great, but getting better. I don't know if that job after year one is a horrible job. I think you'd have to do one hard year. Atlanta, to me, like I keep telling you, get a quarterback. Like Atlanta, go get a quarterback and you have a good job. There's options out there, but I think by far the best job is the Charger job. But again, my only apprehension on the Charger job is, do I really want to go for the AFC? And do I really want to face Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid twice a year?
The problem with Atlanta is, like, even if you go there, are you going to have a quarterback?
I already told you, if I'm Atlanta, I'm getting on the phone. I'm saying, I will give you my first-round pick for Justin Fields.
The Falcons should absolutely do that. They should.
I don't think Justin Fields is worth a first-round pick in every place. like I don't know, like would Tennessee give up a first for him? Probably not. They probably give up a second. Like there's situations where they're not that desperate, but they would like an upgrade. Maybe the Saints, they'd take them for probably a second or a third. The other interesting one, and we're going to get into this, I'm sure, in the next couple of weeks. Here's a wild card. Hey, Cleveland, what would it take to get Deshaun Watson?
Huh. I mean, he hasn't he hasn't lived up to his $230 million contract. I'll tell you this.
I'm telling you, I never thought I'd be in favor of taking a 38-year-old over, Deshaun Watson. But all right, we are getting completely off topic now.
We're good at that.
The Rock is back.
And he's challenging Roman Reigns. Well, he didn't directly challenge Roman Reigns, but he insinuated it. And I've heard mixed reports about this. I've heard that it could happen at WrestleMania, but I've also heard that because Elimination Chamber is happening in Australia, and that show's going to be in front of probably 70,000 fans, I think it is, they're thinking about, I've heard reports that Roman versus The Rock could happen at Elimination Chamber.
So if I'm the WWE creative team, if I'm Triple H and crew, I'm saying, I'm sorry, Cody. It's not your year. I am booking this match as the night 2 main event of WrestleMania 40.
Okay.
In my opinion.
So what do you do with Cody then?
You put him in a match with Drew McIntyre. You put him in the triple threat with Rollins and Punk. You could do that. You could have him go up against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship.
I don't think you'll put him against Drew McIntyre because I don't think Drew McIntyre is going to be in WWE by the time WrestleMania rolls around.
Drew's contract is through WrestleMania, so he will be there at Mania.
I don't think so.
But, okay. Anyway, Cody Rhodes, I'm sorry. The fans love you. Some people have called you. My one buddy called you the John Cena of this generation, which I have seen firsthand being at a show. The kids absolutely love Cody Rhodes.
Not
anyway,
me.
I know you don't. But in my opinion, having The Rock wrestle Roman Reigns at a, Eastern time, 6 a.m., when not a lot of people are going to be up to see this match live. He's going to bring in mainstream audience. WrestleMania is your biggest show of the year. It's in Philadelphia, one of the best wrestling crowds ever. It just makes so much sense to me. And again, Cody's story, we all know. A lot of people want Cody to finish the story. I get everything about it. But I'm sorry, this match is just too big to pass up, and you cannot do it at Elimination Chamber, because if you do it at Elimination Chamber, it basically renders the whole match pointless, because everybody knows Roman's going to win because he's going to face Cody at WrestleMania. If you do it at WrestleMania, there is a 2% chance, I would put, on maybe The Rock winning that match. Again, I think it's very minimal. But it's more of a chance if you do it at Mania than it is at Elimination Chamber.
It depends. If you do it at WrestleMania, do you put the titles on the line? Or the championship on the line?
Well, absolutely you're putting the titles on the line. Yes. And that's the one thing that I do think that Vince McMahon got right. A lot of people complain that this match doesn't need the title or this match doesn't need the title. Who cares if it doesn't need the title? Everything means more if it has the damn title on the line.
I'll just say this. In general, I like the non-title feuds more than championship feuds. I feel like the non-championship feuds get more intense, more personal.
See, I completely disagree with that. I think the champ, because as my buddy has said, and we've talked about this, my good buddy Michael Reiner, he's been on Brains World a lot. We talk about this, and he's right. And I don't know if you've ever heard this expression before. The money is in the chase. My issue is with Cody becoming champion. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on this. Sure. I don't see Cody becoming champion. What's the next step? I actually have potential challengers in mind for Roman Reigns post WrestleMania. No matter what, no matter if he faces Cody, no matter if he faces Brock, I want Roman to retain again. I have other matches in mind for Roman. CM Punk, AJ Styles, Sheamus. Yes, Sheamus. They never finished that story from 2 years ago. Solo Sikoa, the fatal four way with the Bloodline. Another match with LA Knight that he absolutely deserved on a bigger stage than Saudi Arabia. I can get Roman Reigns from now until next WrestleMania, which at that point he will break Hulk Hogan's record. And I think that is the path they should go.
You would upset a lot of members of the WWE universe if you go that route. Here's the thing, though. I understand what you're saying. And to a certain extent, I agree with you. Because it's like, okay, Cody wins the championship. Now what? Like, who does he feud with? Who does he eventually drop the title to? What does he do after he drops the title? Like,
And
you have
with a
all those
way this
questions.
historic, because I in another conversation with another good wrestling fan of mine, you may agree or disagree with this. I'm going to throw this at you.
Go.
He feels Roman Reigns is championship because it's such a historic reign at this point. We all probably think there's no place it could end besides WrestleMania.
Right.
Roman Reigns' championship reign has become the equivalent of this generation's Undertaker streak.
I
It's
see.
the it's
I
the
see
one
it.
match on the card that, like Undertaker's match, you knew going in, like there's no way he could lose. And then boom, it happens. It was the one match everybody was looking forward to every single year. Roman Reigns' championship defense at WrestleMania can become that if you space out his championship reigns, which they've done a really good job of doing.
I see what you're saying. For me, I was really interested in Roman's championship reign at the beginning, but it's just dragged on a little bit. The story
I think it becomes more important now because he's not there every week. And I'm sorry, when he's there, SmackDown is a different show. It's a better show. It's better flowing. There's more important. The whole show revolves around Roman being there. No matter if it's with the Bloodline or feuding with LA Knight or AJ Styles or Randy Orton or whoever he's going to face.
which
Roman
that
Reigns is
triple
this.
let me just say this, that triple threat match is going to be fantastic.
And this is why I say, what if there's a possibility you do a fatal four way at the Rumble? Then you can still have him versus AJ 1-on-1 down the line, him versus Randy 1-on-1 down the line, LA Knight rematch down the line. There's other ways to get, and you can keep Cody far away from him until WrestleMania 41 or 42 or 43. Like, and somebody else made this point, and I agree with it. The whole finishing the story, Cody doesn't want to defend the championship. He's already basically been on record. Cody's last match in WWE could be him winning the title from Roman and dropping it immediately.
That almost feels pointless then to give him the belt.
Well, it would create nuclear heat for, like, if Damian Priest were to cash in or whoever the Money in the Bank would be at that time.
Yeah, that's true. But
all right, we got to get to AEW World End real quick. Go ahead. AEW is your show. The floor is yours.
Yeah. The pay-per-view overall, I would give it a C+. It was nothing to write home about. I didn't think any of the matches were particularly spectacular. I kind of expected Adam Cole to be the devil. The story felt like it was going in that direction. Did I change my mind a couple times? Yes, but overall, it was an okay show. It was acceptable. Definitely not one of AEW's best pay-per-views. I liked Wrestle Dream a lot more. Revolution was way better. But I'm okay with it. Obviously, when we get to Wednesday, tomorrow night, the first thing we need to hear is an explanation from Adam Cole. That has to be the first thing to open Dynamite. Because I get it. We have a new champion. Samoa Joe ended MJF's historic title reign, which it sounds like MJF is legitimately hurt. So he's going to be off TV for a while. And they're going to play off this whole bidding war of 2024 storyline. Right now, he's not even listed on the AEW
Yeah,
roster.
it's a complete work.
I know, but it's still a really good storyline, regardless. But yeah, I didn't love the pay-per-view overall. I would give it a C+.
Yeah, I didn't get the hot shot booking of Adam Copeland winning the TNT Championship and then giving it right back.
Yeah, that whole storyline was the match itself was very good.
Yes, it was
but
decent.
the ending was just like, wait, what? I didn't get it. And like the Tony Storm Riho match, I was like, somebody come out and save this match, like a Mercedes Moné, who's probably debuting tomorrow night at AEW Dynamite. As reports are significantly indicating.
And
So
Tony Khan seemingly gave her Charlotte Flair money, which I'm sorry, she's not worth.
we will see, but I think it's about to be boss time on AEW.
Which I'm fascinated by it. It sounds like her old tag team partner's heading back to World Wrestling Entertainment as well. So
yes, and it sounds like Andrade is headed back to WWE, which I'm fine with. I'll tell you this. I really liked Andrade in AEW, but I never felt like he got booked properly. Like, he could have had a big push. He could have been TNT champion or international champion. Maybe you could have put him in a world title feud, but it never felt like he really got like the big push that I think he's capable of. So,
with that,
go ahead.
We are on Twitter at Ring Champion, Instagram Ring Champion, Facebook at Ring Champion 216. This has been Championship Rings for this week. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Josh, it was a hell of a show. We love each other. We agree to disagree. We'll be back next week bringing down Week 18 in the NFL, the National Championship game, and we give our predictions for Wild Card Weekend.
The National Championship should not be played on a Monday. Put it on a Saturday.